I'm live. Hey, look at that. This is what happens when you let me start live streams, but you also let me have a phone and like an iPad. And because I'm like, oh, I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, hey, look at that. I'm reading interesting posts from my fellow analysts. I'm just here. Good morning. It is 8 something o'clock in the morning here. I share that with you knowing that you might not be watching this live, knowing that you might be watching this later in the day. And I share this with you so that you understand why my voice sounds like Kathleen Turner invaded my system. Uh, I've been in Vegas too long, and so I now have official Vegas voice. I think this is what you call it when you've been laughing so hard at your colleagues that you start losing your voice. And let me tell you, I have been laughing so hard with these people. Not just the Constellation crew, and there are a lot of us out here. If you haven't been checking everybody out on X, hey, there's also a big group of us over on Blue Sky, so certainly check that out. But we've been posting on LinkedIn. Larry has been writing like 90 articles a day and posting them on Constellation Research, and then we've been, they've been silly enough to put us in group settings, like all of us from Constellation. And that is never good. To say that there was an evening Uber ride that involved multiple people almost having accidents, like depend worthy accidents, is not an understatement. I can't remember a time I've laughed so hard. And it is all thanks to our friends and family here at Analyst Summer Camp. So big thanks, big props to the team at AWS and their amazing analyst relations team. This is a group of people who have been on their toes all week trying to deal with all of us crazies. And I couldn't be more grateful to all of them. So this is going to be my last missive from Vegas. And I just want to wrap up with a couple thoughts, a couple ramblings. I've rambled for 2 minutes so far. So yeah, pretty standard, pretty on the norm. But I wanted to go over one big announcement that happened. The announcement dropped in Matt Garman's opening keynote. Ooh, God, what the hell was that? Keynote, thanks to Andy Jassy. It has been much buzzed about, much talked about, much questioned. And then I'll give you some closing thoughts on reInvent. But let's jump into the announcements first. And that is the announcement of Nova. Amazon Nova. Okay, so what is it? What is Amazon Nova? Amazon Nova is essentially a new classification, new suite, new naming convention, but a new set of foundation models that Amazon is releasing. And for those of you who don't live and breathe in this wacky world of AI or ML and data and all things like Bedrock and all that kind of fun stuff, I just want to take a step back, because a foundation model, and I think Amazon is being very intentional in saying that they are releasing foundation models and not releasing a series of LLMs. So let's start there. Amazon is releasing Nova, which is going to be a suite, a grouping, an offering of foundation models. Okay, so what's a foundation model? A foundation model is essentially a model that is trained on a massive, large, like they say large, but I would say massive, but a large quantity of general data. And it's really meant to be a starting point on which you can build AI applications. So OpenAI, let's take them. A general pre-trained transformer, GPT, is a foundation model, right? And so it is for ChatGPT, it is trained on text and on general data and information to be able to not only ingest and understand the input, but then also to generate that text. So we have been around foundation models for quite some time. Arguably, Amazon is not new to this space of foundation models. And for those of you who have maybe been Amazon customers or who have been Amazon watchers, you will remember the name Titan. And Titan, in fact, had 2 separate LLMs that were part of the Titan brand. And those were really, one was kind of set on tasks, right? It was meant for things like summarization, text generation, but then there was another model within Titan that was really focused on embeddings, right? So it was there to kind of seek out and understand that semantic meaning behind text that was put in. It was really in that model suite for Titan. It was it was really great for personalization, right? So it could kind of understand and it wasn't meant to generate text. It was really meant to to understand and to deliver that recommendation, to deliver that personalization. So if we remember Titan, we need to think about Nova as its bigger, badder replacement. It's the evolution. It's the next incarnation. So what Nova is billed as is Nova is built so as those generative models. The first set of models that they announced on Monday, was it Monday? No, Tuesday. I can't remember. It was a day that ended in a Y, and it was here at reInvent. They announced it. Were their understanding models. The understanding models are going to come in 4 flavors, 4 sizes. Think of them as like various sizes of Happy Meals, right? If you really want the lean, mean, cost effective, you're going to go with the micro. You want the big, bad, like everything in it. I'm going to do all the things with the understanding model. You're going to go out with the premier. Just know that the 3 sizes, flavors, incarnations that are available now are called Micro, Light, and Pro. And the 4th being Premier is going to be available soon. These understanding models are really the ones that ingest and accept the text, right? So they're taking in text, they're taking in image, they're taking in video. It's about the inputs, and it generates text output, right? So these are really meant to be kind of fast, easy ways to bring in that inference. It's that cost effective inference that they've been promising and that they're looking to deliver with these understanding models. They do have multimodal RAG capabilities that are included and are in each of these suites. The big news here, though, is that these are all available in Bedrock, and that they are really intended to deliver that easy button, right? I think a lot of folks who are looking at these types of foundation models kind of know that there's a whole lot of like erector set, Rubik's Cube kind of turning that you have to do. And as easy as Bedrock looks to make that process, there's still a bit of like fiddling that has to happen. And people who have gotten really good at that, just like in Rubik's Cube, hey, they get there real fast, right? But for us mere mortals that like, okay, can I just be honest? Can I just make a Rubik's Cube confession just for a second? Like, I am that kid that at one point during the Rubik's Cube journey did take off the stickers of the Rubik's Cube and solve the Rubik's Cube by moving the stickers because I just was looking for the path of least resistance. So if you are building an AWS kind of like I was solving Rubik's Cube, this whole concept of having to fiddle around in Bedrock gets a little frustrating. So, with these understanding models and the understanding models within Nova are really about that easy and fast integration to all the data and to all the applications that are already within Bedrock. So, not only are they providing the foundation model, but they, this was kind of the next evolution. This is the make sense next step with all of the innovations in Bedrock, with all of the innovations around SageMaker, when we're bringing all of our data, when we're bringing all of our models, when we're bringing all of our AI-based applications together in one spot. I think we're all loath to call things a single pane of glass because, hey, glass breaks. But if we're looking to bring them into that more seamless to build, easy to access so I can build quickly, that's really what this is about. And I think that's where Nova is heading. While the understanding models are cool and they're great and they were really interesting to learn about, y'all know that where my brain immediately went is actually to the second set of foundation models that Nova will include and that Amazon is announcing, and that is their creative content generation models. So the 2 that were announced through reInvent and on the AWS stage are going to be Amazon Nova Canvas. It's going to be text to image AI generation, and Amazon Nova Reels, and that's going to be video. Okay, so What Amazon is promising, and they've used words like studio quality and professional grade. This is really text to image generation, and we know how this goes. There's lots of folks out there who are doing this. You've got your Stability AI with their Stable Diffusion model. You've got OpenAI with Dolly. Um, I think the group that's leading in a lot of the generations that I have seen and a lot of the work that I have seen is Adobe Firefly, of course, which we've talked about before. I do think that Amazon Nova Canvas is entering a hot space, but a space that's starting to even out in creatives and artists' decision making about when, where, and how these tools are deployed and when they are used. I was fascinated at Adobe Max this past fall in Miami that I heard time and time again from everyone from an individual creator to heads of agencies say very clearly that they were now looking at AI image generation and AI image generation models as almost in the same way that artists will look at the tools that are available in their toolkit. Sometimes you need a fan brush, sometimes you need a flat brush, right? Like sometimes you need something that's going to be quick and dirty. Other times you really need to get in there with a whole lot of precision. And I think that's what's happening with these image generation tools and with these models. And so I think Amazon's entering in a really interesting time because organizations are making intentional decisions around which tools they want their teams to use at which stage of that creation process and at which stage of that creative iteration process that they're going to be using. So for creatives who may have been using Dolly to kind of get those first ideas out of their head, get maybe some of those kind of first passes onto image, and then they're using Firefly to really create that commercially safe production ready art. Um, they now have a new option, right? Do I know today, the third day of reInvent, where Nova Canvas is going to compete? Is it going to compete against the Stable Diffusion Dolly set, or is it going to go head to head with Firefly? I don't know, but I have a guess. I have a hunch that this becomes organizations and the enterprise, especially brand sensitive and brand security sensitive enterprises, that Nova Canvas becomes a real contender to use in those first pass creative iterations. And I think we even heard that here at reInvent. They're in, along with the kind of the Nova Canvas release information. If you even go onto the Amazon site about Nova, which I encourage you to do to get more detail about this announcement, you have leading executives out of big agencies and firms like Dentsu saying, listen, this becomes a game changer. This becomes a trusted game changer for our creatives to take those first passes, to have those initial iterations, and to kind of accelerate that front end of the creative process to get the words out of your head and have something start to iterate and start to provide some guidance as far as where you want to go. And then going into other tools, excuse me, and refining, defining, creating, and really bringing that artistry to life on that canvas. I think, again, it really becomes the interesting, is this the fan detail brush? I don't know. Does that still stay with Firefly? I think there's going to be a lot of questions, but I think it's really interesting that Amazon is in the space because, again, remember, these aren't necessarily end tools. These are foundation models. So when you have foundation models, that means you have the capacity to build with and on them. You now have AI applications that spring to life within your organization that have these as foundational bricks in that giant castle that you want to build. So I think it's super, super interesting. Reels is going to tackle video. Again, we're hearing words and phrases like studio ready. I think the biggest the biggest questions, and I think the biggest kind of bullet points and notes that Amazon is really emphasizing with both the Canvas and the Real announcement is that they are really, really focused and dedicated to the safety, the controls, issues like watermarking, issues like content moderation, that they have those capabilities and that they are building these into these foundation models. So, I think that there is a lot more conversation that should be had around these products, specifically around Canvas and Reel. I'm going to be digging into it because I'm a weirdo and a nerd like that. And I got to talk to a lot of the product team on this, and even though it was an initial conversation and fairly informal, I'm excited about how they're thinking. I'm excited about where they're looking and where they want the puck to head. I think that in this space, and when we talk about certainly not just foundation models, but especially when we're talking about generative AI with content and issues like text to video, text to image, text to vector, text to whatever we're talking about, I think it's about where we're looking, right? Where we're looking for that value to be delivered and where we're looking for that end game to actually get us. And I think that Amazon has a very interesting and a very clear vision on that. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of not only getting in there and playing with it, seeing how it stacks up, but then also, seeing how it stacks up for very specific applications of where and how people are using these tools. So keep posted for more of that. With that, we're going to bring this to a close because this video is getting long and y'all have things to do and I got a giant coffee to drink. So there's that. Let's talk about reInvent for just a minute. Let's just talk about AWS for just a minute. The word build gets used a lot around here. And I think that it is right to think of Amazon Web Services, AWS, as a company that revels in its capacity to build the building blocks, whether they are those big, meaty foundational bricks that hold up massive businesses, or whether it's those small finishing pieces, right? All the flowers, all the roof designs, all of the window dressing that people can use to finish out what they believe and what they need to use to build out that image that they've got in their head. And I thought it was really cute that at reInvent, folks have been handing out things like little builders, right? They're cute, right? They're little Legos, right? It's the little Lego builder. And it always invokes the conversation around folks who are AWS customers kind of fancy themselves and see themselves as master builders. And I think that language and that lingo falls off the tongue. It's very natural. It's fun to use. It's fun to say. I think a lot of people like to do it. But I kind of found I've got a bit of a problem with it. And here's why. I don't have a problem with the idea of they're a builder. And if we want to go with even like the Lego idea of a builder, it's great. But everyone kind of has this idea that everyone wants to be a master builder. And so we have to kind of remember what a master builder is, right? In the world of Lego, there are two paths of being a master builder. You could be a master builder like the movie, right? And in that regard, a master builder is someone who can pretty much build anything they imagine, and they don't use the instructions to build it. Right? They can imagine something. They don't need a set of instructions to have it happen. And they can go and use all the bricks and they can use all the pieces and they can build the couch bunk bed and, with all the coolers and all the other things that you want to come with it. The other definition of a master builder is like actually at Lego, and a master builder through the Lego perspective is that person who can kind of pretty much build anything, but is also responsible for cleaning, repairing, maintaining, making sure that build, that structure, the experience, the activation, that Lego structure isn't just built, but it's maintained and it's optimized and it's fixed and it's cleaned. I think both of those definitions can be very true for an AWS customer. But there's also another reality. about an AWS customer. And this is one that I think of because of my daughter. My daughter loves Legos right now. She's 7.5. She's kind of obsessed with them. Her Christmas wish list is like, like at least 50%. No, I'm gonna say it's like 33% Lego, 33% Barbie, and then the rest of it is like a hodgepodge of badness. But that 33% of Lego is important because one day my daughter sat down and we were building like one of those botanical Lego kits. It's actually in my background, funny enough, in my office. And she said to me, I said, honey, you could build any flowers. Like there's all these extra pieces. Like you want to go get your Legos. We could build whatever you want. And she said, Mommy, I don't like building whatever I want. I want to build the thing in the picture. I want to look at the box and I want to see the instructions and I want to build the thing in the picture. And I want it to look just like that thing in the picture. And I don't want to have it have eyes if it doesn't have eyes in the picture. I don't want it to have 17 other things in a car that jumps out of it. I want the box. I want to know exactly what it's going to look like. And when I finish building it, I want it to be exactly what is in the picture. Because the exciting thing that I want to do is I want to play with it. And the way I play with it is where my creativity comes out. My daughter wants to be able to take the Moana wave riding boat that's sold out, by the way. But I want to take that wave rider and I want to imagine the world in which the wave rider is. So I want to build the boat exactly how it is in the picture. And then I want to have my creativity unleashed and then I want to go play with it. That's my daughter. My daughter doesn't want to be a master builder. My daughter wants to be a master player. She wants to know how to build it and she wants to have fun building it, but she wants it to look exactly like the picture. And then with what she built, she wants to go have a great time. And I think it's that builder that AWS, at least in this reInvent, has really started to spark and really understands. And I appreciate that. I think Connect is a great example of something that, as an AWS developer, you can go and get that box. You can build exactly what's on the box. And it's a pretty good foundation of what you want to build for a contact center. And you can go build that contact center. And then you can go and unleash your creativity. And you can operate that contact center exactly how it is in the box. And you can go and build your business on that. Or you can be a master builder and you can completely redefine what it means to be a contact center. They've got all the pieces. They've got all the different elements that you're going to need. You got all the different foundation models, all the different channels, and you can go build the contact center of your dreams. Now, can you use Connect as the basis to do that? Absolutely. Go buy that box. Go do it and become the master builder. Don't use the instructions. Build whatever you want to build. Or you can be like my daughter. Be the master creator. Be the master user. Whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, AWS is giving you kind of the choose your own adventure of Lego. It's like the Lego store. It's not just a big box of crazy Legos. And I think the fun thing about that is when you start to do that and when you start to draft off of your peers that you meet here at reInvent, when you start to do those things together, when you start to learn from other people's and go to the peer talks and you go to all those things, it tries to help you not step on one of the Legos in the middle of the night. And for any parents out there, y'all know what I mean. You know that sucks. But if you want to graduate from being a builder to a master builder, you can. But if you also want to hang up your hat, stop being a master builder for just a minute, just build what's on the box, AWS doesn't punish you for that. Amazon doesn't punish you for that. And I think that is something that I take away from this reInvent. I take away that moment in the keynote. And yeah, there were lots of moments, but this is the moment that's going to stick with me. It was the moment in which Matt Garman showed a slide and told the audience, and he told us again in the analyst private Q&A that we had with him, that he is not interested in being held back by the tyranny of or. He doesn't have to choose. He gets to lean into and. So if there's anything that I can walk away with outside of all the technology and all the best practices here at reInvent, it's going to be that for 2025, I really hope that I can set myself up to what I'm just going to call the Garmin standard of walking away from the tyranny of or. I hope I can figure out how to do that. That's my hope for 2025. And I hope it's the hope for you guys too. So, hey, thanks for sticking with me. I've nearly rambled for 30 minutes. That's a whole lot of garbage, especially this early in the morning. I'm going to go ahead to the keynote and we're going to go have some fun. So, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for checking this out. Peace out, everyone. And I just got to figure out how to end this stream. I'm almost as bad at technology as Holger. Oh my God. Okay, there it is. Later.